Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the General Banter podcast. My guest today, Chris Kent.
Thank you.
Welcome. We're doing a like all great podcasts, impromptu kind of. Mm-hmm. You're in town, we're in town.
Exactly.
Let's get together and chat. We're the same hoodie nearly. That's embarrassing.
I know. I did notice that when I came in. Yeah.
It's like we're doing workouts in the 80s, and then just decided to do a podcast.
Rocky Balboa running up the steps there.
Yeah, looking at the steps, fresh off the sold out gig at the Mac.
Yes, it was amazing. Paddy's Day. I've never gigged on Paddy's Day before.
There's definitely like a window on Paddy's Day for sort of slightly more mature people.
Yeah.
Who want to actually
not get sick in the street.
Yeah, go out and don't want to piss themselves publicly.
Yeah.
But they want to go to something.
Mm.
Is that the sort
comedy's a good window for that, isn't it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But didn't stop them drinking at Lavery's last night with a show too. A couple of, mature ladies.
Rowdy.
Just like fucking ice buckets full of wine.
Nice.
Chatting to themselves as if there was no comedy even happening.
That's the worst thing, I think. Whatever, I don't mind hecklers at all. Genuinely, because at least you can engage with them. But it's when they're talking to each other.
Oh yeah.
And you have to tell them to stop.
I know, and
numerous times.
You seem like like you're such a fucking vibe killer.
Like
going,
a teacher.
Sorry, but
lads,
everybody's staring at you right now.
You're ruining the show, lads.
And they always say something like, "Oh, okay, carry on."
Yeah. It was actually one year in Edinburgh. I had to get. It was actually 6 Northern Irish, about 8 Northern Irish girls thrown out of my show.
Oh God!
In the wee room, 50 people at it, and 6 of them in the middle row. And I was like behind the curtain straight away. I was like, "Oh God, this is bad."
And in Edinburgh, there's usually nothing behind the curtain.
There's nothing. There's
it's just you and
I'm just standing there,
a brick wall.
And I could see they had all glow bands, wristbands on for some reason, and they were on it. Gave out to them loads. Tried to put them in their place loads, and then they were really annoying other people.
Yeah.
And I was like, eventually I had to get them out. The adrenaline, there's no security in those rooms.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you need to get out now, seriously.
Yeah.
This is your last warning. This is 50-50 fucking.
And it was probably at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So everyone was on a totally different vibe. And I was like, get out. And the rest of the crowd were like, thank you so much. And I got them cheerioed out of the room. Yeah. I said, you start cheerio, cheer. And they all went out. And they were all waiting for me afterwards.
For a fight
outside
or something?
The door. Yeah. You need to. They were like, you need to man up. And I was like, that was the manliest thing I've ever done in my life. Throw 6 women out of my show.
I need fucking 2 Prozac after that.
You need to man up. And it was weird because they were waiting outside the door here telling me about Tammy, and every single person that came out wouldn't have seen them yet, and they were like, thanks. And every single person called them cunts almost. Thanks for throwing those cunts out. And they heard every single person calling them a cunt, and they still hung around.
Oh, there's something fucking wrong with people here. Like, who was I talking to recently? And they were like, why is there no like weekend gigs up north? And I was like, because they'll go to comedy for something to do during the week, and then at the weekend they're like, don't you dare interrupt my drinking time.
You can't interrupt people
with your fucking with your comedy. How dare you?
I was wondering why there was no weekend comedy in Belfast, but you just let loose at the weekend, is it?
I think so. We might start a Friday gig, and it's kind of like a come out of work, go straight there.
Yeah, early enough.
Quick show.
7 o'clock.
Over by like 8:30.
Yeah.
Go on the piss by yourself. But yeah, it seemed like, you supported Neil Delamere at the SSE. I had guys kicked out of the first show, and it was something similar. It wasn't heckles you can deal with.
You can deal with them because they're engaged with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're listening and they want to fucking jump in before you. It's the the ladies chatting amongst themselves, and then also like just guys shouting stuff, and you're like, what are you fucking even saying right now?
Yeah.
That would just be mid sentence, and this guy's like, just shouting things from videos that I can't even remember making. And I'm like, what? And then, he would confirm what he said. And I'm just like, why did I stop for that?
You interrupted the flow there.
I don't know, if you turn around, you might see 3,000 people sitting there, you know? And and it's always like front row.
Yeah.
It rarely comes from the back. It's always like right here where you're talking to them and nobody else can hear it.
Yeah, exactly. Just ruined the show, like.
Nightmare. We were just talking briefly about the SSE. Is that the biggest gig you've done?
Biggest gig I've done, yeah. I mean, it wasn't my gig, but I'll say it. I put up a post afterwards, I'm an arena actor now. And people were congratulating me. I was just opening for someone there, but I just put it all up.
Listen, it's
like, well done.
It's all about optics, man.
Exactly.
If you get that hero shot from behind of you
That's
at
it.
the SSE,
I got that one, yeah.
No one's gonna know.
Yeah.
Tell everybody down south that you're just like absolutely fucking.
I'm a massive acting.
Killing it.
Belfast. And I had to pull a show in County Cork, but that's fine because I go back to Belfast.
So and you just did Vicar Street as well?
Yes.
Jeez.
3 years waiting for it. I booked it way out, and then COVID happened, and then I just had to wait.
Have you done it before though?
Never.
No. So I that's what I had thought had happened was I always thought you had done it already.
No, I opened for loads of acts there. I was about to. I was about 3 weeks out from it or something, and then the whole lockdown.
Fucking hell. So that's how I thought. That's what I thought was happening up here. I was like, oh, he's already done it. He's doing it again post lockdown.
I wish.
But that's the one. That's the same show.
That was it. Yeah, people were there, tickets in their hands from 3 years ago.
Fuck, it's bizarre. Same show and everything.
Same show. It evolved a bit, like, because obviously I was in the middle of tour on that show. You see.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, so I was just after getting the show to where I wanted it to be, and it's evolved now since I bought it back and COVID and all that. There's a little bit of it's probably a bit bigger, like, but it is that show. Yeah. So
you're like familiar with the venue before you did your own big show there? Been there a bunch?
Supported a few Irish and American comedians there. And I loved it. Like, couldn't believe I was going to be doing it on my own, like, it's a proper buzz.
How did you celebrate after or anything? Or
I did actually, yeah. A couple of pints.
Yeah, it's hard to fucking.
And I don't really drink it. 5.5 years since I've had a drink.
Yeah, I remember last time you were up at Lavery's, you were like, I'm off the drink.
I'm off the drink. Yeah, I didn't drink for about 5.5 years, and then last year I was on holidays with my wife, and she was like, we were staying in her cousin's place in Roscommon, and they have a lovely pub, and they were like, it's meant to have this really good Guinness. So I was like, oh, I'd love it, and she was like, just have one. So since then I've had a few, but I've then gone months again between it. But on Vicar Street, I just got off stage. I had a 0% Guinness, and I was like, it was rotten.
Really?
And then I got off stage, and Damo Clark opened for me, and he had a pint of Guinness, and it just looked amazing. I was just after getting off stage, and the guy was like, do you want one? And I was like, yeah, sure. I had a couple. It was nice, yeah.
Going crazy.
Yeah.
Let loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 0 one's just fucking pointless, to be honest.
I like them, to be honest. I like the actual Zeros, Heineken's, and the Guinness, but this one was, just not as good as the real thing, obviously,
Yeah, I think it's good, there's plenty of times where I felt like I could easily not drink ever again.
Yeah.
But it's a good skill to have.
Drinking?
Yeah, just,
It's a massive skill to have.
When you need it, it's good,
Yeah.
For a moment like that, when you want the celebration pint, you're like, I'm able to have this.
I had a couple, and it was lovely. It was nice.
Like, Mihal, where's that come from? Like, Mihal last night.
It's not my phone, is it?
No. He doesn't drink, and then he realised he wasn't driving. He had a Guinness, and like 2 sips into it, he was like,
floating.
Take me home.
See, that's the way I used to be. That's why I had to give up drink, because I didn't realise people were better at it than I was. And I would go toe to toe with, like, my dad, who has a nickname of Georgie Two Sups, for that reason, that drinking the Guinness.
And his name's Brian.
Yeah. Him and my uncle one day, I remember I was fresh off. I'd say I was probably only 18. I went drinking with them and just carried home.
Georgie Two Sups.
Oh, I got carried home. I just drank with them, and I was like, I'll be Christy Two Sups now.
Yeah.
That's it. And Christy Brown is who I ended up being a couple of minutes later. I remember just drinking and being toe to toe with him for so long, and then I got so drunk. Like, they carried me home, shoulder to shoulder. Couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Dragged me home, like my shoes, like that, dragged along the ground all the way home. And I fell asleep in my childhood bedroom, I remember. And I woke up, right? And I was after pissing my pants. This is the reason I gave up the drink, right? I was after pissing my pants.
Fucking Super Mario bed covers.
And also,
covered in piss.
My phone was in my front pocket. So I basically pissed the phone to death. So not only that, I went downstairs, right? I went downstairs in this haze of drunkenness, and I started Googling. Ages ago now, my mother had a laptop. The internet was very slow. I was Googling like how to fix my piss-soaked phone. And before I got an answer, I had set up her hairdryer against it to dry it out.
Yeah.
But then it was like the first thing it said was like, do not put the hairdryer, will just blow everything back into it.
Blow the piss
so it was
back
like,
into the charge
it was
port.
like, get the Hoover out and suck the stuff out. And I got the Hoover. And I don't know, young people probably won't remember this now, but I got the Hoover, I set it up against my phone, and it sucked all the buttons off my phone. Up into people won't remember buttons on phones, but it sucked all the buttons up into the Hoover, and they were all tingling around inside the Hoover, and I had a pissy buttonless phone, and That was one of my steps towards not drinking for 5.5 years, probably.
Just you in a fucking
me and my underpants.
Alcoholics Anonymous circle telling that story.
My mother hoovering for months afterwards, going, "There's an awful smell out of this Hoover."
It's rattling about here, all these pissy buttons. That is hilarious. Yeah, I wonder how far into the Google search you had to go before it would complete the sentence. You're like, how to vacuum the piss out
of a phone.
Out of your phone.
Yeah.
That is fucking brutal. I got slagged off one time, like years ago. I think I took my phone out of my pocket, you know, in the early phone days.
Yeah.
And it was a BlackBerry or something. And this girl at the bar after a gig was like, "You still got buttons?" I was like, "Shut up, you fucking."
Yeah, people. I can't even think of anyone with a phone with buttons now.
And now, if you go back the way, you can be on your sort of moral high horse.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I've got a basic simple phone.
Nokia 3310.
That does calls because I'm a fucking.
Yeah, I tried to do that.
Yeah.
I tried to get rid of that phone and have that. Went out and bought one of those phones and all because I didn't want to be on the internet anymore.
Yeah.
But it didn't last very long.
I mean, it's weird. It's just like, it does the job of like 50 things, so you can't just get rid of it.
Exactly. I'm way too dependent. Sat navs, everything. I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't have found this place. Not a hope.
Well, yeah, you're one of the few people who find it.
Yeah.
Reasonably easy.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are like, I'm beside an Asda. Can you direct me around? You were talking about Edinburgh there. I remember I saw that show actually that year. You were in that room.
Oh yeah, I saw your show too. That was
we went in there. I don't know if I should have been at the Fringe at that point in my career.
That was a great show, man.
Really? I had only done stand up for about fucking 2 years.
It was I remember you had a few sketches in between on the screen.
I basically did like 4 10-minute spots.
Yeah, but that's a fest. That was
broken up with videos.
That was one of the best shows. That was one of my favorite shows I'd seen that year.
Really?
Because it was different to everything else.
Yeah, I bluffed it. Like it was basically, it was a guy who made some videos and then started doing stand up and probably wasn't ready for like a full show. So it was just like, here's a bit of stand up, here's a video.
What year was that? Can you remember?
Fucking hell.
Was it 2014 or 13
I think it was,
like
13 or 14. Yeah. 14, I think.
Yeah.
Or
13, I'd say, was it?
Yeah, it might have been 13 because...
or 14. It might have been 14. I was in the assembly rooms, I think. Or was I in the assembly rooms or in the Gilded Balloon? I can't remember.
You were in the Gilded Balloon.
I was in the Gilded Balloon, okay.
In like a tiny room where like...
Yeah.
You know...
That's the room I threw the girls out
If you were sitting at the side, the chair was touching the wall.
Imagine now throwing 6 Northern Irish girls out of that room.
I know, it was weird actually. Last gig I went to in there was actually Neil Delamere. And
was he on it? Oh, he was too,
he was in is it the pool room or the
billiard room?
Billiard room, yeah, that's right. And everyone's sweating, like everyone's wearing shorts and everything, and I was fucking sweat was like lashing off my legs. And he got to the end of the show and he just turned around and he was like, "Get us, isn't it?" Like this. I'd never met him before. What? And he was like, "Oh, this is before I did the SSE." And he's like, "This guy's doing an arena in Belfast now." And everybody in the room just turned around
and looked at you.
And I was just sitting there like, and then people, you know, he would carry on with the show and everyone was still just like, "Who's this fucking guy?" It was and then I started sweating even harder. And then after, like, almost like in a movie, 2 like very, you know, attractive porn star looking women were like, "What's your name?" and everything. Maureen was pregnant and went to the toilet.
Yeah. And you were like, "Yeah."
I'm standing there like, this is happening. About 8 years too late.
Yeah, exactly. Where were you when I
Where were you when I was doing open spots?
2014 with my 4 10-minute spots.
I know, you had a fucking nightmare at Edinburgh, didn't you, with the mumps and all that time?
The mumps and all that, yeah. That was that first year, yeah.
What sort of fucking...
Who gets the mumps, like, these days?
Prehistoric fucking...
Yeah. Because I was misdiagnosed as well. I went to a doctor's over there and they were like, "You had the mumps before?" And I have a whole bit about this. And I was like, "Yeah, well, it's not the mumps." And I was like, "Cool, thanks. Do you know what it is then?" She was like, "No." And she left me go and I continued to do gigs. And
what does mumps look like?
It's a swollen salivary gland on the side of your face, swells out. It's a viral infection, but you get a bit of an old fat. Looks like you're just getting fat on one side of your face.
It's that alpha man.
Yeah, it is a bit like that, yeah. And it can be really severe, but sometimes you get the testicles swell up as well, but that's not... It didn't happen.
In your mouth?
It didn't happen. But I continued to do gigs and like I would shake people's hands afterwards. "Hey, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming." And eventually then someone else said, "You have the mumps." And that year, that was 2012, man.
Jesus.
Everyone was at the Olympics, like literally everyone. There was about 12 people in Edinburgh and it was rough. It was rough. But I couldn't wait to get back, to be honest. I love gigging every day and getting a show together.
Yeah, I just... there's something about that month that scares me.
Yeah, I think
like if I had to do fucking Lavery's Comedy Club every day for a month, I would freak out.
Yeah.
I just don't like that repetitive. I also enjoy a gap in between sets. I don't think I could, do a set and go, shit, what does that need? And then sit in a cafe and rewrite it. I couldn't do that. I would need a couple of days to let it settle in, and then...
That's interesting. Because I'm trying to work out now how to write the next show without Edinburgh. So I'm maybe going to book a few little shows around Ireland, six or seven little shows in Cork and 2 or 3 in Dublin and
Lavery's.
Yeah, Lavery's. Yeah, just like small little ones where I can just go and see if that works better.
Yeah,
because also it costs so much money.
The Fringe, yeah. I don't know what they're.
How are they? How are the comedians up there the only people not making money? And it's the only people that it doesn't work without.
Exactly. You could do a fucking fringe.
Yeah,
like
the Fringe. Yeah,
this is like outside of the actual Fringe for actual comedians. It's weird. It is
That's
weird,
what it needs.
and it always the little experience. I've been there 1 year actually doing a show. I've been many years just as a guest. But it seems weird that you look around at all the posters and how much coverage people get, and you're like, oh, they've just decided they'd like this person to make it this year.
But also charge that person 12 grand for posters.
Maybe like
for being in a 40-seater.
Like the year I was there, Ashley B was getting pushed. Real hard,
massive.
And then she just fucking to the moon like. But it just seemed like that was her. That was like the year where they were like, right,
It's her, yeah.
Let's get
and
her.
It'll be a handful of people. But the problem is, 100 people put the steaks, push the chips into the middle. 100 people put 12 grand into the middle and go, yeah, I'm in. And then at the end they're crying.
Yeah.
And they're like...
Because they didn't fucking tick the box.
And the agent is taking, sorry, you owe us 12,000 euros, so we're going to take 50% of every gig you do for the next 2 years. Is that all right? Okay, yeah.
There are some fucking psychopaths in the show business world.
I used to be up in the Loft Bar there and just looking around at the people. I cannot fathom.
Yeah.
This one was swilling wine and she was working with PR or something, and she was like, yeah. I was like, how are you making more money than me up here? I'm not making any money.
It's so funny, like, the comedians are like the normal guys in the middle of all that, staring at all these freaks going like, what the fuck are we, you have to like kiss these people's assholes just to get in.
You take the comedian away and none of it works. You take anyone else away. Take that lady with the wine, take the fucking box office away, take the microphone away, take anything away.
Yeah.
And you can still work around it and make it happen.
Yeah, that's one thing I've never really got involved with that much over the years. Like,
which?
Just like getting sucked into that sort of agency kind of.
Yeah, you did. That's great.
Trying to fucking. I mean, you definitely to this day still feel like an outsider all the time. There's no.
I think that's class, though.
Sort of,
do all that on your own, like, and.
But I've been let into those VIP bars in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
At the Fringe, and you're kind of standing there like. People still fucking rolling their eyes and turning their head and all, and you're like, yeah, it was just fucking...
A lot of shoulder gazing.
Yeah, he didn't... like 30 sold out theatre shows, like, at home, but over here, people are just like, well...
They're talking to you, but they're looking over your shoulder like, who's
and then you don't even play a ukulele in your set. That's the thing with the Fringe. So much slips. Like, it's got so many good things, but there's no real, like, quality check.
There's no quality. No, anyone can do it.
Anyone can book it. So you end up, and people are like really shameless when it comes to flyering and stuff. So they're like, "Come see the show," and they're fucking doing
5 stars.
They're doing backflips and all this bullshit. And the show's shit, but it just happens to be like 3 theatre kids doing a show. So they're very, Meanwhile, you're sitting there with like some, absolute fire stand-up set, being like, "Do you want to come to my?" Oh, never mind.
Yeah. I couldn't do that. The flyering is so hard, man.
Did you
flyer?
No, I couldn't even fucking...
Nah, I was like,
Some people are built for it and some people are... I'm also not like a friendly looking guy. If I walk towards you at any pace, people will be like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Head down. Go the other way.
But you do see some absolute shit. I remember... you remember Chrissy Bowes from Daly's Comedy Club?
Yes.
Or whatever. He somehow was in charge of this bus at the Three Sisters.
Oh, I remember.
Remember that? I couldn't even stand.
Yeah, we were popping in and doing little spots there and stuff.
I couldn't even stand upright. So you went up the stairs and I had to do the set like, hey guys, big
20 past 12 in the day.
Yeah, big wide stance. And it was I was actually staying really close to that. So if he had a dropout, he just rang me. So I'd be like lying in the fucking.
I was the dropout. I was one of those dropout guys as well.
Yeah. But isn't it weird? I got good at the bus set.
Really?
You know?
You got used to playing the bus?
Yeah, I was like, and I remember actually doing a gig with Paddy McDonald one day, who is rough as like.
Yeah.
And he seen that there was a kid on the bus, and he had to like really censor himself, and he came off and he's like, oh, I had a fucking nightmare of a gig there. And then I went straight up and did like a fucking Jimmy Savile joke or something. But obviously the kid and the parents and all laughed because they're like, we're at the Fringe.
Yeah, we're bringing the kid.
You're obviously going to see some scandalous shit. But yeah, I ended up like, you know, working out a fucking a bus set over the weeks.
Set, yeah. It's mad how you just adapt to playing a bus, like, isn't it?
My joke was, you know, like I could literally like go like this, and the top of the fucking double-decker bus would move.
Yeah. That's still going, that bus, I think. I don't know who's running it now, but that bus is still there.
I don't know if it's easily shifted, you know, it's just kind of there.
No, I think he drives around in it. I think that's the guy did. Didn't the guy drive around in that or something? He drives it from festival to festival.
Oh my God.
And it's like, you know, you pay big money for that, like to get a splot.
I wonder, do they still do, what's the late night show where they fucking, you can do like a promotion but you take all your gear off? What's that show called?
Oh yeah, Spank.
Yeah,
I did it once, yeah.
I wonder, does that still fly after the whole Me Too thing, or is it a bit much to be asking people to
get your kit off?
Take their kit off. You should see this now.
It's a bit weird.
It'd be a late night show, starts at 1 a.m. I think.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can, if you're an act at the Fringe and you're at this show, you can promote your show, but you have to do it naked.
You have to do it naked.
Which
at the end of
sometimes is like great crack, and then other times you're like, why is this guy
really drunk,
like gross,
naked,
like weird cock, like.
Come see me tomorrow.
Yeah,
11:55 on the bus.
As if anybody's taking that down. You know what I mean? What did he say? Yeah, 12:30 at Three Sisters. And he's sitting there with this wrinkly ball bag.
2 for 1 Tuesdays. Yeah, we'll go Tuesday.
It's just nothing. You don't want to.
I did that gig. I did a spot at that gig. Yeah. I didn't take my clothes. I didn't have to take my clothes off. I was booked for a normal slot. But the gigs they throw over there are mental. Like they have set lists and all that. Did you ever do that? Set list, and there's another one like set list where it's like a museum and you have to pretend you're a lecturer and you're like talking. So
set list is when they just like give you random word combinations and you kind of got a riff on it.
Something will pop up and that's your set list. Something will pop up in the projector and they're like, yeah, this is what I was talking about.
How did you get on at that?
At the first one, very good, surprisingly, and I was terrified because I'm fairly scripted enough with my writing. Like, you know, I improv a bit, but improv wouldn't be my favourite part of comedy. But I actually loved the first one and I got such a buzz off it. Then I did it another year later and I died my arse. And then they just started making the slides impossible. Yeah. You could do something with it, and then they were just like, come on.
I know. I mean, it's like, it's the sort of thing where like, I think I would probably be okay at it.
You'd be,
but I would be shitting my pants. You know what I mean? I would just be like, fucking, this is a disaster. Because there's still part of you is like, right, I still want to be funny.
Yeah.
You know, for these people. I think one of the best ones I ever seen was, is it Todd Glass, his name is?
Todd Glass, American guy.
Yeah, he just fucking freaked out at the scenario. You know, he was just like, this isn't funny. Who fuck pays into this? And he just went off on one about like how stupid this setup was.
I did that for like the third or fourth one. I was just annoyed at the game. I couldn't get anything else.
Yeah.
And then I was like, nah, this is fucking stupid.
Because you can be like, next, and they give you like a new combo.
And I was like, watch this now, next, watch the next one. But you think it's going to be this shit. This is just too hard now. And
that's fucking, you gotta.
What else did I do? Joke Thieves was another one. I enjoyed that.
What's that?
Joke
like
Thieves.
Taking someone's stuff?
Yeah, well, everyone gets up. There'll be like 8 acts on. So 4 will go in the first half, 4 will go in the second half. But you'll have to do someone else's material in the second half, and they'll have to do your set in the second half.
Okay.
So it was great crack.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I had to do a Scottish guy, Robert, what's his name? I can't remember. Fucking really angry Scottish man anyway. I had to do his material in the second half, and I just thought it was great crack.
Do they write it out, or do you just have to remember?
I was just looking at his set and like writing little bits and going, try and do your interpretation of it then, you know?
Fuck.
And that's what Edinburgh is. It's just lost. Everyone seems to need a hook. Come on into my show. It's, you know.
Well, it's always the like, you know, if you go to the Fringe and do like straight stand-up, it's like the worst thing that you could ever do.
Yeah, you can be criticised for it.
People will be like,
it was a bit too funny from start to finish.
Yeah, people will be like, absolutely one of the best club comics I've seen in years.
3 stars.
Yeah, 2 out of 5. It's like
one reviewer said about me, he takes a bit too long to get to the point, and they released the review in September. I was at home. I got a Google notification. I was like, okay, all right, yeah, okay.
That'll do me next year.
Yeah, thanks, lads. Thanks for that.
Oh, I mean, like, you got to question what sort of people are out there reviewing comedy.
19-year-olds, college kids.
Really?
Yeah, because I've seen them. They come in and they just, it's really, like, I remember one year, I got a reviewer in one year and they didn't reference this, right? I was doing okay this year and it was a really quiet day. It was so quiet. It was in the assembly.
Yeah.
And my theatre would have been like 60 seats straight in front of me, yeah? And I said, for a laugh, we had 12 people in. And I used to stand in the little side bit, which was like fucking 5 meters by 3 meters, yeah? And I said, it'd be fucking hilarious now just to move all the chairs in there and say it's sold out. And I did it. And then before people came in, I got the guy to help me move all the chairs in there. And I flipped the curtain up over like that and turned the lights around. Yeah. And I was like, sorry lads, we're sold out today. And I put everyone in. And there was a reviewer there. Didn't even reference that. Didn't even like...
Oh my God.
You know? Well, I stopped going after them though. I wouldn't be mad. I don't really like reviewers, to be honest.
I don't think I have a quote from anyone that I could use.
No.
In the last, whatever the fuck it is, 12 years or something. I don't think there's one single... sentence. So like, oh, very funny. One of those ones.
Yeah.
Someone got a quote just says, "Great, John Bishop."
Because you see, loads of comedians have got you walk around Edinburgh, it's like 5 stars. Like their poster is plastered in it, and you're like, I've done gigs with this person.
Well, that's it.
And they are shit.
Yeah, it's pretty black and white comedy, isn't it? It's like.
Yeah. There's a noise that happens after you do a joke.
Yeah.
And you know
that should do it.
That should do it, really, yeah.
Yeah.
Every now and again a laugh or a clap.
I mean, you should just write on it. Sometimes it's 5 stars, sometimes it's not,
Yeah, sometimes it's negative stars.
And it's your fault, whoever's in that crowd. It's your goddamn fault, you son of a bitch. How was your like lockdown sort of period?
My lockdown was interesting because I was living in London.
Where do you live now?
Cork.
Back
in Cork, yeah. Back in Cork, first time in 10 years. But I was moving back anyway.
You just walk into town like that?
Yeah. Pre-pandemic.
It's me, baby.
See, I was moving back. I was like, fuck it, I'm moving back. Because I was doing my first Vicar Street. I was doing a big enough gig in Cork. I had kind of gotten into all the clubs I wanted to get into in the UK. So I was playing them anyway. And I had 2 kids now. So I was like... My mum was flying in to babysit while I was flying to Ireland, and that was awkward.
That's nuts. Like, that's
I know it is. Yeah,
nuts.
It is mental. So I was like, it'd probably be a bit easier.
Probably cheaper than like London babysitter prices.
Probably, yeah. But I was like, it'd be a bit easier if my mother didn't have to go to the airport in order to babysit.
Yeah.
So we wanted to move back to Cork. I said, let's do it. Like 6 years in the UK, contemplating it, and I said, come on, what's the worst that can happen? And then coronavirus happened.
What could go wrong?
And I ended up living in my childhood bedroom with my wife and kids for a couple of months, and that was interesting.
Fucking hell.
Went back to the day job then, got a...
What was the day job? Because I seen
electrician.
Electrician, because I seen you put up a post in the fucking high-vis thing, like just going, I would do a gig in anywhere.
That was a poem I did for something. Yeah. It was like a little dreary poem, but saying that I even missed the terrible gigs. That was at the height of it,
Yeah.
But no, I went back to the day job and it was actually great. Initially, it was a bit weird. The guy doing the safe pass, I don't know if you don't have a safe pass up here, do you?
What's that for? It's
a safe pass card to get onto a building site. It's a safety course.
Okay. Okay.
It's 8 hours of the most boring. But when I realised I had to go back to work, I was like, shit, I need to go back to work. I had to scrub the internet of jokes about me being a terrible electrician.
Oh my God.
And send out the CV with a 12-year gap and hope for the best, and go, oh, fuck it. And the nerves, man.
But, it's a weird thing because I'm sure there was plenty of fucking work, was there?
Loads.
Yeah.
Loads.
Because it's crazy at the minute. Like, we've got guys converting, like, the garage, and these guys are coming in at, like, 6:30 at night and working till, like, 10 or 11.
Oh, there's loads of work. Like, I worked, I'm delighted, I'm grateful for it. But, like, there was a period of time, though, where there was no one getting back to me. Like, I was living in my childhood bedroom, my wife and kids going, oh, this is fucked.
Yeah.
None of us had work. None of us had anything.
Yeah.
And I was after paying for like the safe pass, which is like, I'm giving comedy up now. I'm doing a safe pass again.
Yeah.
And the guy from the safe pass recognised me, and I never get recognised.
Fuck.
The man doing the course recognised me and is asking me for a selfie. And I was like, are you fucking joking me? Like, I've literally buried comedy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just throwing the soil on top of it here.
Fucking hell.
And he's like, can I get a selfie? You're the comedian.
I gotta say, like, it took me fucking almost a full 2 years to be like, oh, I actually wouldn't mind doing some fucking gigs now.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't miss the gigs too much, to be honest.
Yeah.
I missed money probably.
Yeah. That's
and having a house.
Yeah.
And a kettle and stuff like that. Things like that I missed. But the actual gigs, I enjoyed not having my phone and all that. My phone didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I was like, your screen time is down 20, 40, 50%. I was just leaving my phone at home, like, you know?
Yeah, fucking right. You know, it's weird. Like, I remember the first bit of the lockdown, because we live in basically, we bought a house that's in a bit of a triangle with the in-laws.
Oh, yeah.
So we live within like hundreds of meters apart.
Nice.
So whenever it was like proper lockdown, it was actually good weather, and we were all just having fucking barbecues and
beers.
That
was the thing about that first lockdown, man. The weather was insane.
Yeah, it was
and
banging.
It was beautiful.
So like, you know, you're outside fucking... I put up a video of me with like one of these sanitizer wipes just cleaning a cucumber. You know, I just remember doing that, like washing all your fucking tins and everything.
Washing the fucking shopping.
Yeah, that's nuts. Like,
that was mad that we were washing the shopping, isn't it?
There's so many things they're going to look back on and be like, how stupid was that?
Yeah, my hands were bleeding. I was washing them so much.
Yeah.
They just dried out. I was washing them every 5 minutes.
And then I hear someone on like some podcast recently and he goes, yeah, it's not a fucking hand disease.
Yeah.
You know, it's an airborne like flu thing.
Yeah.
Just don't be near people if you don't want to get it. I was like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, washing the shopping.
And every time you fucking sanitize your hands, you're like, just waiting for it to fucking die off because it's like stinging the shit out of your hands.
I don't give a shit anymore. Have you had it like?
Yeah.
Have you? I haven't had it. No. What?
We did a gig in, so we did the SSE gigs at Christmas, and at that time people were like, Omicron is everywhere, and it was very touch and go. Even with the gig, I was like, are they going to let this slide and whatever? And then sure enough, January was like a bit of a lockdown type scenario again. But I did one more gig in Armagh City Hotel, and it was like 650 people.
Fuck.
Huge. And it even freaked me out. I walked into the room and I was like, holy fuck. Because 650 like tiered seats.
Yeah.
It's still quite a lot, but it's kind of in a block.
It looks
650 cabaret seats
in a hotel room.
Was like fucking enormous. Yeah. And sure enough, like I was tested positive like the day after. Connor Keys was on. He was positive. The sound guy positive. Everybody that went to the gig was like
super spreader.
Everybody was like well, they weren't checking anything, you know what I mean? They were just letting people come in, and after everyone was like, "Oh, great gig, lad," and all, but you know, we've all got COVID, and I was like, "Yeah, fucking."
You just thought they were messing.
Yeah, like me too.
It's like me with the mumps, boy.
Yeah,
spreading it around.
Yeah, just fucking high-fiving people, calling girls from Belfast cunts in their face.
Thanks for coming, lads. Yeah.
No, I got it, but I mean, thankfully it was, you know, the Omicron one, which was kind of just like
the mild one.
I've been gigging like a maniac, so whenever I got it, I just thought I was exhausted.
Yeah,
I was just like, I've been up too long and driving fucking hours on end and everything. I'm just absolutely shattered.
Oh, I didn't miss that, man. The fucking driving. The driving. I was opening for Delamere. I was telling you this earlier before Omicron time, and Mayo. I was gigging in Mayo with him, like, and I drove the day before. I had been my mother had her 60th, and it was literally because of the Omicron. It was literally me, my wife, my mother, my brother, his partner, and the kids. That was it. Like, we just had a meal together, like, you know. Then the gigs were shifted. This was between Christmas and New Year's to 6 o'clock and half capacity. And I was like, yeah, I'll still do it. I'll still do the gig. Left my house at 12 o'clock, drove to Mayo, got to Mayo, and my wife rang and goes, your mum has tested positive. And I was like, are you fucking joking me? I can't go in there and give this to Delamere and get him off Dancing with the Stars. You know?
Sue you to death.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, exactly. I'll ruin your career here now in 2 seconds. Or save it, whatever way you want to look at it, for not doing Dancing with the Stars. But like, I just couldn't go in. I rang Neil and he was obviously sound about it. He was like, geez, I don't know. You know, technically it was just a close contact, but I didn't want to go in in case I did have it, because I was with my mother the day before, even though we were on a different table in the restaurant. But it was just like getting back into the car after a 3.5 hour drive and not doing a gig and then just driving back.
Ireland is not well sort of linked up with roads.
It isn't, no.
Like Galway the other day had you go to Dublin and across.
Yeah.
You don't go like across country.
No, you don't go that way.
I also had to go to Mayo recently.
Mayo's a trek, man.
I was going to Ballina and I went like down through like Fermanagh and like I took a piss at home.
Yeah.
And there was nowhere to stop for a coffee or a piss till I got to like Ballina.
Nah, you wouldn't want to be running out of fuel or anything.
No, you'd be fucked. Like.
I don't know if you've ever gotten a train anywhere in Ireland, but I've passed places I was going to on the way to them. I'm like, how did that happen? Swear to God, how did that happen? I passed the place, I'm like, I'm going there.
Yeah.
I'll be here in 2 hours. I've passed the place. And I went down and came back and I'm like, well, we're here.
I know, it's so fucking...
Who's after designing that?
I know, there's people like... there's... how many trains is there left now, Niall, up north?
Oh, fuck.
The one banger train, that's it.
Is it bad up here as well?
I think trains are terrible. Like, even our closest town is Dungannon, and it has a big rail line going through it, but there's no train.
Yeah.
Not for years. So
I think there was loads of rails around Ireland and they were all just dug up and put away.
Yeah, fuck
I think we had a much more sophisticated rail system like years ago, you know?
I know you would take it nowadays, but yeah, that cross-country drive is just like...
Oh, man.
It's such a part of comedy too.
It's such a part of comedy. It rained the whole way home as well from Mayo, you know? And whatever happened, I went out to the car the next day. And when I say my boot was full of water, I mean my boot of my car was
like a paddling pool.
Exhibit found out I was mad in the swimming pool back in the day. And he went,
Pimp my Mazda.
we put a swimming pool. Like my tools were covered, like the whole thing. And I was like, what's after happening here? And my whole, where you put the wheel was just, you couldn't see nothing. Everything was floating around in my boot. And I was like...
Did it come up through the bottom or did it rain in through the top?
I was trying to investigate for the day. So I took everything out, took the tyre out of the car, took everything else out, took all my tools out. And luckily they were up the top. And I was like, me and my wife with 2 trick-or-treat buckets that the kids had, emptying my boot. And I mean, it took us about a half an hour to get all the water out of the boot.
You just fucking drilled a hole through the bottom of it.
That's what someone else said to me. But we got the water out. I think I was investigating the whole time. I dried the car. I stuck a dehumidifier into it and everything, plugged it in, and kept going out to the car after it rained, trying to figure out where the water was coming in. There was a little crack in the light. Basically, one of the rubbers had lifted up. The rubber seal around the boot had just lifted up completely, like, you know, and it filled my fucking car with water.
That's a fucking disaster. Like,
I tell you, you're not, you get a lot more room when you take the tyre out. You have an awful lot of room in that boot, actually. If you're willing to risk a journey and you want an extra bit of space, I'm tempted to leave the wheel out, you know.
Oh yeah, just head to the roof like you're on safari.
But it is though. It is part of it. Like I remember driving again with Neil. I was doing work. I'm working now, and this week I was working mental hours, 13-hour shifts. So I was just half asleep the whole time, you know. Yeah. So I'm leaving work one day, 13-hour shift. I crashed into this other car, just half asleep, fender bender, you know.
Yeah.
But still had to go through the insurance and all that, and my insurance broke the light in my car. I had to get up the next day, go to the fucking scrapyard, get a light, put it into my car, then go to work, covered in oil, and then I had to drive to Dundalk for a gig after work because I had to fix my light. Drove to Dundalk, you know, fucking shit, like, what's going on here?
I think it's the only bad sort of thing about doing comedy is, well, you know, it's like you don't know who you're doing the comedy in front of, you know, that's a factor.
Yeah.
And then also, like, you're the entertainment, so it's like, I don't particularly feel like the entertainment right now because I'm fucking exhausted.
I was exhausted, but it was kind of funny because the insurance company, everyone was saying to me, you're not going to go through your insurance, are you? And I'm like, well, I am. The insurance that I pay him for 20 years. Oh, don't bother those people about fixing this woman's car. You pay thousands of pounds. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go through my insurance, you lunatic. So I then drove on the way to Dundalk, it was a long day, drove to Dundalk straight after work. And on the way there, the insurance company rang me. And, you know, they just put everything. They were like, it's cool, don't worry, it happens all the time. So I felt way better. Did the gig, and the gig was brilliant crack, and that made a big difference. And I was talking about what happened at the gig. Got up the next day and had some breakfast in Dundalk, and I was I was really chilled out then. I was sitting at a table in a restaurant, and this guy next to me had like a novelty cup. It was like a picture of a fox on it, and it was like for fox's sake. And I was laughing at that cup.
Right.
I was laughing really hard at that cup. You know, I was like, maybe it was just the whole stress of the thing.
Just completely lost your mind.
I was like, oh yeah, life is okay. And I supported Neil Delamere that night up to North. And driving home, I hit a fucking fox.
Oh,
properly creamed a fox. Never hit a fox in my life. And I was like, whoa, that's what the cup was about. The cup wasn't trying to tell me not to take things seriously.
Yeah,
it was
for
like,
fuck's sake, indeed.
Watch out.
Just absolutely smeared the fox up the road. That happened to me coming out of Dublin one night, just like coming through that fucking tunnel. And there was no one there, and I put the foot down. I was like, "Rrr," and just like, you know, you glance away for a second, look back, and there's just a fox in the middle of the road eating some other dead thing.
Yeah.
And it was just sitting there like, "Rrr, rrr," and then it looked up, and I was just like, oh fuck.
Did you hit it?
No, but I did hit a freshly dead one.
Did you?
Me and Mickey Bartlett in the car and just fucking minced that as well.
Oh, I cracked this fella. I couldn't even get my foot. You're not meant to brake anyway, apparently. You're not meant to brake because
that's what
you're
they say.
Meant to go straight through them.
Foxes, children, old ladies, just fucking.
But I didn't even get my foot to the brake. He just came right out from that part of the road.
Yeah.
And I didn't get my foot to the brake, and I just heard the big smack.
They'll fuck your car up, like, depending on, you know, what size it is.
Cracked the bumper in the middle of my car. I was already broken from hitting the woman the day before, but luckily I just fixed the light and not the bumper, because the fox broke the bumper again.
Did you spill any water out of the paddling pool in the
pool? Yeah, I still had I need a new car, I think. That's the
fucking the gods sending you a message. How long have we chatted for there now?
40 minutes.
40 mins, bro. We have some questions here actually. If you want to jump to the questions, there's not many of them because I've only put the thing up recently. What's the most disgusting? You see, they're a mixed bag. These questions. What's the most disgusting thing you've witnessed in the men's toilets? I've seen a guy go straight from the urinal to the hand dryer.
Oh, that happens all the time.
To dry his piss hands. I mean, even fair play to him for putting up, you know, the sort of pantomime of the illusion of hygiene.
Yeah, well, I'm back working on building sites now, man. So it's just like
disastrous
toilets.
Yeah,
yeah. Like they literally closed the toilets on one of the sites I was at because someone shit on the floor.
I always see things like that, and I'm like, I have been shitting professionally now for 35 years.
How did it
get on the floor?
How did it get on the floor? I think it's either intentional. It has to be intentional.
Like, you'd have to be shitting on the way in and trip and fall, and it fall out of your ass.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
One time ever, I was very close to, I think I did material about this, but I had for some reason, I was very hungover. I had my wife's onesie on. And it got stuck. The zip up here got stuck, and I very, very needed to go to the toilet very quickly. It really gave me a panic attack. I was in my apartment in Dublin, and I was like, "Oh, I have to go." And I went to get the zipper and the thing, and it was stuck in here, like properly.
Oh no!
Properly, like, and I was like panicking, and I ended up breaking her onesie because I had to pull it apart like that. I had to just break the zip like some kind of fucking terrible Superman in the toilet.
Pooperman?
And I Pooperman, yeah. And I pulled it, and that thing went flying, and I pulled it down. And I swear to God, man, there was stuff leaving my body before my arse hit the seat. Like, honest to God, that's just, it was gone. But it's still, even under those circumstances, which are rare, I would say, everything was in the bowl.
Yeah, yeah, even in a fucking...
even there, in that panic.
Even in...
I got everything into the bowl. How do you... And also, like, where do people sit? Sometimes it's at the back. Do they, like, sit right back? How is it all back here? Do you know what I mean? Like, how the fuck?
Yeah, it's a fucking... Or you've got shit coming over the front of the toilet, and you're like, where, were you going, like... You know, switch stance, like you were leaning on the cistern like this.
Side saddle.
Yeah.
On a toilet.
People fucking, it's insane. Some of the shit you see, like, it's always like bus stations or train stations or something, but like, I remember being in Glasgow, and I lived in Glasgow at the time, got the train back from Edinburgh, jumped off, busting for a piss, ran into the toilets, and just went to open this cubicle, and I mean, it looked like someone shot diarrhea into a fucking like plastic pint glass, and then got like a fucking 3-wood and just went whoosh and like blasted it up. It was like fucking like a grenade went off, like like completely sprayed up the wall. I was like, what happened here?
How do you leave that though behind you?
I don't know whether
it's not your first time doing that kind of thing. If you just walk out,
I like to imagine that was completely natural, and someone didn't throw it. They just pulled their pants down and fucking shot right up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Very impressive, you know, but...
Those people must smell of shit, though.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, crazy homeless person, I would, if I had to guess. What about that fucking, what do you call that family we always would like to watch for the all the inbred folks?
The Whitakers.
The Whitakers.
I've seen a bit of that, yeah.
Yeah, but the guy's just like, and he turns around, he's just fully shot his jeans, and you're like, well, that's just normal around there. It has to be uncomfortable.
It has to be. It is. I've done it. I pissed my phone to death.
Yeah. It's that stingy piss.
Yeah, I was like, it's the shame of it.
It's hard to do, sober as an adult.
Sober I wouldn't, yeah.
There is a mental block to like soiling yourself with your pants on, because we, remember that day we went up and did the outdoor adventures in the sea.
Oh,
and I said, the guy was like, where's the toilets around here? And he goes, you're wearing it. And I was like, all right. It's hard
Is that what he said? You're wearing it?
Yeah, and we rented these fucking wetsuits too. So he's just like, man, just blast the piss into it. You're in the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh yeah.
But I couldn't. I held the piss for about 3 hours because it was like, there is a mental block to like, you've got your fucking underwear
consciously,
and you got this thing on.
Yeah.
And it's all mashed in, and you're like, I can't piss.
Yeah.
I can't piss. Like, it's not, I'm not relaxed enough, or the muscles don't know what to do.
I could, if it wasn't for a wetsuit, I would in the sea. No problem.
Yeah. I should have just took the whole wetsuit off and just fucking stood at the side of a rock. But apparently that's a legit technique. Keep yourself warm.
Yeah, but all sorts of people do it. Like runners, ultramarathoners do it.
Yeah.
They shit and piss themselves the whole time.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to shave 10 seconds off their time. They don't want to stop.
10 seconds, even that would be impressive.
They're like, oh.
I remember that famous video of...
they get lighter as well, I suppose.
Was it? Yeah, true. Like Paula Radcliffe or whatever, she had to stop for a bit of a shit.
Yeah. Sonia O'Sullivan had to do the same, I think. She had to get off the track.
But I mean, fucking 5K into that, I'd need to shit.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of running, and going out needing the shit it's torture.
Do you still? I remember you used to do bits about doing marathons and shit.
Yeah, I've done. Yeah, I was doing loads during the lockdowns, and started just trying to get back into it now. I do too much. I don't do any of the strength or conditioning or stretching or drinking water.
Yeah.
But I will run for fucking days. Like my wife will be like, "You're insane." She'll be like dropping me off in Ballincollig Park in Cork, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I'll just run home. You drive." And
How far is that?
About 20k or something.
Yeah.
And I'll just go, no problem. But then I don't do any of the stretches or anything like that. And it's only now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to get injured because of it.
Just in a pair of jeans and a fucking
exactly.
Boots.
Yeah.
See you at home. Just that's when you're a professional runner. You just I would be buying all the fucking trainers and shit and not running anywhere. You just take off. I did get...
A lot of people do that. All the gear, little jackets, little scarves.
Yeah.
It's expensive stuff.
There's a lot of people wearing these fucking it's like a bra with pockets in it.
And they put their phone in there, isn't it?
Yeah. Fucking weird. Weird shit. Let me see. How many more questions have we got? Going to the Comedy Cellar in New York this week. Any tips? Just sit at the front and get blocked and shout yo every 5 minutes.
That's the people we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, people think that's a legit part of it.
Yeah.
I've got some good heckles. Someone said that to me before Lavery's. I've got good heckles for tonight. And I was like, what? Get the fuck out of my face.
Loads of people say that to me in work now. I'll come and see you and I'll heckle. And I'm like, please do.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with people. I don't know. You keep watching these comedy documentaries and people go like, heckling is just part of comedy. And you're like, no, it's not.
I can count the amount of times I've been nearly heckled, probably.
Probably.
Honest to God. It really doesn't happen that often at all.
I had one good heckle and it was just well timed and it was funny, where I was introducing like Mickey. Yeah. And I was like, guys, he's one of the best comedians in Northern Ireland. You're going to love him. And someone went, Patrick Keelty. And I just, like, that's good heckle.
You just give it up to that, don't you?
Yeah, that's
and
fun.
And they clap for that person.
That's fun. But yeah, that's the smartest thing I've ever heard as a heckle.
Yeah.
It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
Everything else is just too much noise over and over again. Can you remember any good heckles?
Good heckles that I got. I got a horrendous, not a good heckle, a horrendous heckle.
Hurt your feelings?
Oh, for days. I was in the worst gig of my life, and I have material about this, and it was in that little poem, and it's a true story, because basically I was going into a comedy club in Dublin, trying new material. I was like, I'm sticking to this new material tonight. I turned up at the club, and the crowd just couldn't, like, they were literally silent for the MC and everything. They weren't giving anything. Transpired, a lot of them didn't have English, and I was like, okay, fair enough, but I'll drive on anyway with the new stuff. And when I say I was dying, I mean I was properly
nothing going on.
I could hear myself sweating. I know that sounds. I could hear sweat going on my back. And then I went into some old material at the end because I was just like, I need something before I leave. Nothing. And a woman stood up and she said, could somebody please help him about me? That was the heckle I got. Haunted me.
Can someone please help him?
Felt it in my balls. Can someone please help him? And then I finished the gig. I went home. I couldn't sleep. I watched a movie. I watched Hunger, I think it was. Michael Fassbender.
Nice cheery one.
I had it on
just
DVD.
to raise my spirits again.
I had it on DVD at the time, and it was one of the. If it wasn't open, I said, I'm not going to bed with these thoughts. So I put that on and watched that, and had a bag of popcorn. And that was just a proper, like, that wasn't my. I'm not sure if it's a heckle if there's concern involved.
I mean, is it? I think the done thing is you just almost acknowledge how dead the gig is.
Yeah.
And just kind of just sit in the pocket and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I should have done that. I've learned that was early on in my career.
I have a real tendency to, like, if no one's laughing, almost like ramp it up on the filth, you know, just be like, you're not going to like this.
Yeah.
At all. This one's for me.
That's the way to do it, 100%. Yeah. But I don't know about funny heckles. None of them are springing to the top of my mind now.
The one that hurt my feelings was there was a guy came to the door of Lavery's. Well, I was just standing at the door talking to whoever was doing the door, and someone was just going to another part of the bar, and they were like, "There's Colin Geddes," and I went, "All right, what's happening?" He goes, and he went to my primary school, like,
okay,
pulling that out of his ass. I was like, did we? Can't even fucking remember.
I can't remember even secondary school.
Nah, and the guy, he was with his girlfriend. He was already fucking slopping about the place, and he goes, "Well, come in. How much is it?" And at the time, it was like a $5 in the Lavery's or something. He's like, "All right," and he sat down, just didn't know what was happening, didn't know it was comedy, didn't know how to watch comedy. He was just sitting there, fucking. The girl was on the phone, just fucking all over the place like this, and just out of nowhere, mid set, she just went like this: "Does anybody have a number for a taxi?" Like that. And the worst thing was, people were like, yeah, like showing her phones and all, just like trying to type it in and all.
Someone else, I was just about to call one actually. Do you want me to get you one as well?
I know we just had to kind of start, I just had the microphone in my hand, like, all right, let's get her sorted out there. Yep. And she's literally phoning it on the seat, and I was like, okay, enjoy your night.
Yeah.
And this guy's just like, all right, can't see you later and all. Good to see you. Remember them old days in the fucking
primary school?
Playing five-a-side, mate, and all good. I'll be honest, I was like, I thought you'd be, dead or in jail by now, but fair play to you.
They're never good. Heckles are never good, really.
They're never good. Right, we'll wrap this up very shortly. I'm trying to think when this is going to go out. Tuesday, so our big weekend will have already happened. Big guests in the limelight. Our boy Kevin Hart.
What?
Definitely me and Shane are supporting him at the limelight.
It's amazing that you're not joking about that. That is crazy.
But isn't it like it is the most...
It's class though, isn't it?
It's amazing. I mean, it's the coolest thing that'll ever happen, but it is the most... It's such a stretch that nobody believes that it's real.
I didn't believe it earlier.
Yeah.
Somebody said, I was with John Mayer, and he was like, Kevin Hart's playing...
Yeah.
And I was like,
the comedian, by the way, he wasn't like sitting
no,
banging out a few licks.
I was like, no, he isn't. And I didn't even believe it. The comedian, that's great.
Because whenever I first heard that, I was on the way to a gig, and Connor Keys.
Yeah.
He was the first guy I seen. I was like, don't tell anybody this, but I have to tell you, or I'm gonna fucking drop dead.
Explode.
And I was like, yeah, apparently Kevin Hart is coming in town. He's like, fuck off. And I have a brilliant. We'll probably put together like a wee video after the whole event.
Yeah.
Where I got Aaron McCann.
I can't wait to see that.
I got Aaron McCann. I picked him up off the plane and I recorded him. And I was
his reaction.
Yeah, and I was telling him, and he's just sitting there, and I was like, blah blah blah. And I got a phone call saying it was going to be a big act, and could I give him like some time at the club and blah blah blah. And I just went, guess who it is? And he goes, I don't know. And he was like hitting, like you would go like, right, who would be a big name?
Yeah, to probably go Irish first.
Well, that's what he asked. He's like, Irish, and I was like, no. He goes like, English, and then he started firing off a few English comedians, and I just went like, Kevin Hart, and he goes, sir, what did he say? You're pulling my fucking wire. Just fucking.
Imagine you said no.
Yeah.
Sorry, can we get Kevin Hart a few minutes? We're actually fully booked.
Yeah.
Maybe give me a bit of notice the next time, all right?
I know, exactly. But then I said to Mark McCartney, like Kevin Hart, and straight away he's like, aye, Kevin Hart sells the fucking tires and Knocknacloy or something. Like he hit me with some real fucking weird local reference, but anyway. But it'll be some crack. But Fuck yeah. Cheers for joining me, man.
Thanks, man.
It's good to get a bit of a catch up. Come back and do Lavery's.
I want to do
on your
that.
little tour.
Yeah, I can't wait to come back.
We've gone twice a week now, so you can come up, get a room.
What nights is that now?
Wednesday, Thursday.
Brilliant.
So we'll put you up and you can stay for 2 nights and, you know, stretch your legs a bit up there. But that's it. Cheers for coming on.
I love coming to Belfast. Thank you very much for having me, bye.
Yep, take her easy.